Julia, this is such a complex story, but let's just go to the motives as why he was appointed, because there was a whole group of people that said this would be great for him because it could insulate him from the corruption allegations. It would have to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. Another group said, well, actually, it's good for Dilma Rousseff. It would consolidate what little power and control she has left in that country. The allegations are, though, it was very much about the former and not the latter. Is that the story at the moment?
That is what got him his nomination suspended. He is a great political articulator. Yesterday, Rousseff called him the most important political leader Brazil has ever had. So if there is a salvaging of her term, Lula is it. This is her shot of not getting impeached.
This is her shot. What's the likelihood of that? I mean, when you think about the unrest there, people in the streets, investors panicked. What's the likelihood?
So Eurasia has raised the likelihood of her being impeached to 75% at this point. And yesterday they said we expect Vice President Michel Temer to be actual president by May. So her chances are not looking great at this point.
So, Julia, if this is her shot not to get impeached, hasn't she picked a fight with the judiciary? I mean, you now have the presidency against the judiciary. It's sort of a constitutional crisis, isn't it?
Yes, it has been very sort of tumultuous, and some of the phone calls that were released, the Lula's phone calls that were released, made references, not the most favorable references to the judiciary. So, and now it's in their hands. It's with the Supreme Court. There are about 10 injunctions to get Lula's nomination suspended with the Supreme Court alone. So it rests with them.
Julia,
so
stay with us.
We'll
I just want to cross over to my colleague Julie Hyman. The remarkable thing about this is the market reaction, maybe not what many people would have expected.
Right. I mean, investors are essentially voting for impeachment, right? They seem to be, traders, investors seem to be in favor of impeachment. I'm sure Julia is very familiar with this chart. The IBOV has, the Bovespa has rallied 17% this year, and this is a chart of it since early February. And at each moment that we've had various developments in this situation that seem to make it more likely that Rousseff would be ousted, we have seen stocks in Brazil rally. Put another way, another chart that we have is of fund flows into the Brazilian ETF that trades here in the U.S., EWZ. And we've seen fund flows, this goes all the way back to 2014. We've seen fund flows spike the most since 2014 as we have had this bounce in Brazilian stocks. So it definitely seems investors have an opinion in this situation.
So Matt Winkler, just when you think you've seen it all in Brazil, it turns out you haven't.
Yeah, and I think the most important perspective here is that this is an economy that lost more than 3% of GDP last year, and it's going to lose another 3.4 or 5% this year. Okay, more than 7% of GDP is gone from Brazil in 2 years. Even if you had a leader who had all of the support of her party, that would be tough. So, you know, this is really what's driving the politics, is the economic backdrop couldn't be more bearish at the moment than it is right now in Brazil.
Wow, Matt Winkler clearly paints two pictures. He likes to stay above the equator. São Paulo Bureau Chief Julia Leite, thank you so much.